Knowledge is power, people, and knowing what's going on inside your body can be the power that you are looking for to make sure that your health is where it needs to be. And that's why we're here to talk to you about Function Health. Function is an all-in-one health platform that starts with over 100 advanced lab tests covering your entire body. How does it work? First, you set up an account, sign up in 5 minutes, and complete a simple questionnaire to personalize your clinical notes. Schedule lab tests, instantly schedule your 100-plus lab tests with Quest Diagnostics, one of the largest clinical labs in the United States. Get personalized results, test every few months to watch your health progress over time. Function Health is about taking control of your health through data instead of guessing what's going on inside your body. Function helps you know for sure, providing access to 100 plus advanced lab tests. These tests include insights to your thyroid function, hormones, liver health, heart health, autoimmunity, kidney function, nutrient levels, heavy metal toxicity, immune system, electrolytes, and more. Beyond traditional healthcare, most traditional annual checkups only cover 19 biomarkers, where Function Health goes 5 times deeper, giving a comprehensive view that allows you to catch potential issues early and take proactive action. With lifespans decreasing, chronic conditions are rising, and cancer is becoming even more prominent in young people, knowing what's going on inside your body can be very important and go a long way to a happier and healthier life. And the good thing about Function Health is that compared to what those lab tests would cost you without Function Health, their prices are incredible. At $499 annually, the membership includes the cost of 100 plus lab tests through their nationwide lab partners. Compared to traditional healthcare costs that would reach up to $15,000 for these extra tests, it's crazy the value that Function Health can bring. Function currently has a waitlist, but they are offering my audience the chance to skip it. Head to functionhealth.com/VIALL and enter code VIALL when signing up to skip the waitlist.
You're crazy.
How's your heart, Will?
Physically, it's beating pretty fast.
Okay.
I'm a little nervous to be here, but it's good. You know,
He looks nervous, everybody.
It's the best.
He looks
Yeah.
nervous.
Well, I also threw my neck out on the airplane, so if
Well, that has a lot to do with
yeah,
it.
well, if I'm wincing at anything that anyone says, it's not what they're saying. I think it
the
might just be
physical
physical
pain.
pain.
Are
Just get that
you-
out there?
Nervous.
No, not at all.
Okay. Why are you nervous?
I think it's just been really dramatic, like me not going to the reunion, and I knew that this podcast was coming up, and I think that maybe I've put a lot of expectations that this will be a good way to really tell my story, and
Okay.
if that, I'm hoping that I can do that, and if I don't meet those expectations, that's sort of what I'm nervous about more than anything else.
Whose expectations are you trying to meet?
My own.
Okay.
My own.
All right.
Yeah.
Emmy, how's your heart?
My heart's great. I'm doing great.
Are you?
No, I
Good.
am. My heart's good. But like, what? For like what? What do you mean? Like my heart?
We just ask that question a lot. It's a fun,
Oh.
loaded question.
I'm like,
But
well-
how it's interpreted, however you want to interpret it. you
My
know?
heart's. It's happy. It's sunny and pretty in LA. I mean, I'm
Emmy's
here.
always a ray of sunshine. So.
I really
Yeah,
am.
you're
No,
gonna
I'm
get the
not.
same answer to that question.
So.
Okay.
So I guess where would you like? I mean, it sounds like you kind of came in with like, I've been in your position before in the sense that I had been nervous about an appearance and maybe an anticipated appearance where I felt like I needed to maybe address or at least wanted to address certain things. And I kind of like replayed that conversation over and
that's
over and
definitely
over
been
in my
happening.
mind and things like that. So to that end, what are the things that you hope when we get done here? What are some points that you hope to at least address and cover?
Well, I think we could talk forever about what happened in the season and, get into the nitty gritty. And I don't know, that would be useful. But so I think for me, I just kind of want to hear what you have to say and maybe what you have to ask and your impressions, because I think that'll be a good starting point to try to address like the multitude of things that I feel like I have to say.
How long you guys been dating for?
Almost 4 years.
Almost 4 years. How'd
Yeah,
you
it's
guys-
our birthday on Wednesday. We have
Your
the same
birthday.
birthday.
Yeah, we
You
have
have
the
the same
same. We have the
birthday?
same
Yeah.
birthday, March 12th. It's
That's
in
crazy.
2 days. Yeah.
So we take a trip every year. This is our 4th trip together.
Is that how you
amazing.
guys started dating, or did you find out like after the fact?
Will was my F45 trainer. And I just remember I
Oh.
posted on my birthday and you responded to my story. I was dating someone else at the time. And you responded to my story and you were like, oh my God, we have the same birthday. And I was just like, no way. And he sent me a picture of his license. And I was like, that's cool. And then
See you on Tuesday at the workout.
I was like, okay.
You're like, cool, bro.
And then a few months later, I mean, honestly, 3 months later, we started seeing each other.
Yeah, we had like not a rocky start, but it was not like one day are you going to be my girlfriend? And then we started dating. I think.
No, it was very much so like
Emmy was seeing someone else. I was seeing someone else. And then those relationships didn't work out. And we sort of kind of fell into each other's arms a little bit. And then
Was it like a run-in, or did someone reach out and be like, "Hey, I'm
no, we just
single"?
always kind of ended up at the same place, but we never admitted that we just
liked each other
liked
until
each other.
it was like 4 a.m. with a bottle of wine on a porch.
Mm.
And Emmy looked at me and said, we're just friends. And then we started hooking up. So
And you said challenge accepted.
yeah, I said,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But for how long?
Yeah, about a minute.
It seems like you guys have been the center, or at least part of the drama of the cast. Sometimes it feels like maybe the drama makes sense, or maybe like you say something you shouldn't say, or yada yada yada. Or sometimes it does feel like maybe like you guys are like just like a target of the rest of the group. It does feel like sometimes.
I'm glad that comes across on the camera.
At times.
Yeah.
At times. It's like
I mean, we've known this group for so long. So to ever think that 90% of the time their intentions are in good faith and because they care is bullshit. So like a lot of the time during filming, it just was hard to, listen to half the people that were talking to us because we're like,
Well, I think too, we've noticed, our castmates get a little camera drunk. And I think they've become in this third season very aware of what it means to have a storyline, what it means to be able to get screen time, and that if you are on the offensive, you're not on the defensive. And I think relationships are easy targets. And I think maybe that's what you've seen a lot of, is that maybe for viewers, it's been interesting to see, why are they still talking about this? Why are they so riled up? That's certainly how I felt.
Yeah. And then, Emmy,
I'm reactive.
You are.
Yes.
You definitely, objectively speaking,
I
you
am.
probably don't do the relationship any good, because your peers seem to know that if they rile you up, you're immediately good television. Like if you see a preview and you're having one of your this is like one of your things that you do, I'm locked in. I'm like, oh shit, all right, well, if Emmy's gonna lose her
wrong,
shit, like something's
yeah.
wrong.
Well, it's funny. Emmy's mom has been saying, she said like after watching this season that Emmy's been having those sort of like,
She's like, I
for lack of a
recognize
better word,
those.
yeah, like not meltdown, because I think that's mean, but Emmy is very reactive, emotionally reactive. She's always been that way.
I'm overstimulated so easily.
Okay.
Which why for me, like when I see her do that, it's not, for me, my alarm bells don't go off, because Emmy is just like a reactive. She feels deep. So I'm not alarmed. That's just who I know her to be.
Mhm.
I mean, it is alarming to see your girlfriend cry like that.
I don't
That's
really
not what I'm
suppress
saying,
any
but-
emotions. I definitely feel them when I'm having them.
We feel them too.
And then I feel fine the next day because I
Yeah.
literally got them all out. And I'm like,
Okay.
after my scene at Republic, I literally went to Father's Day dinner with my dad afterwards. And I was like, hey.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Okay.
There seems to be like a lot of things about your guys' relationship that feels untrue or unfair as it relates to some of your peers and castmates have directed towards you guys in the relationship. However, it also seems like there's also things that maybe have happened, or like that might have some truth to it, that maybe like almost like puts you guys in a bad. It's like if one thing's true, then they must all
Yeah,
be true type of
certainly.
thing. So maybe let's address the things that like maybe you guys have had to work on.
Yeah.
Or maybe things that you've had to apologize for as it relates to maybe how you guys have treated each other. I think maybe the criticism that's directed your way sometimes is maybe
Yeah.
like things you may have said behind Emmy's back. How much of that is accurate and true?
I think the starting point is very accurate, and
Okay.
it's something that I'm like deeply apologetic of and shameful of. And, I was going through first I just don't want to, I want to explain myself without sounding like I'm excusing myself. Like
Sure,
I'm not
okay.
saying at all that the behavior is like, okay, it's definitely a mistake on my part. But, I was going through like a really stressful time. My life was changing. I was just had surgery. I was in a lot of physical pain, yada, yada. There's a lot of good reasons, but it doesn't really matter. And I came back to Charleston and I used alcohol as a vice, and I kind of drank too much, and I overshared to good friends of mine about concerns that I had with the relationship. Like I thought that maybe we were growing apart, and I was worried, that Emmy was focusing on the wrong things. And that's a conversation I should have had with Emmy. And I know that. And I think that
Okay.
it was a nice moment for me, if there's any silver lining to it, to recognize my own failure, and then, to go to Emmy and say like, look, I messed up and we should have had this conversation. I should have come to you about this. And then it actually let us talk more deeply about our relationship and our feelings.
So it wasn't like you were going around town just like
Talking
holding up a
shit.
poster
No.
being like, if you want to hear some shit about Emmy, I'm the guy to talk
Yeah.
to. This was a isolated one-off venting session.
It was two weekends where it happened. It was like sort of back to back.
Okay.
And it wasn't like, I think when you say like, oh, Will was talking shit about Emmy, especially on a TV show, you just get to throw it out there and then you have to sort of prove a negative that it wasn't talking shit when it sort of
it was talking behind.
Yeah, it was
back.
cousins to that, but it wasn't me just telling anyone that like I hate her or I think she's a bad person or that.
There's definitely a difference between
Yes.
like talking, venting about your relationship. It doesn't make it okay versus just like, there are people who do talk shit about their partners, you know,
Yeah.
and there are people like,
And they're just not on a TV show for the world to see it.
well, I don't even mean like in a defensive way. I just mean there are people who like go out and just like will roll, you know, like they'll be out with the girls or out with the guys.
Yeah, like I
and
hate her.
some
I
will come
hate
out
him.
and then like someone's like rolling their eyes about their boyfriend or being or talking shit about their, you know, their wife or girlfriend, being like, she fucking sucks.
Such
She's
a nag.
nagging
She
at
doesn't
me
ever
or
leave me
whatever.
alone.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between someone who does that on a regular basis behind their partner's back versus, again, like sitting down with a group, you know, seemingly friends and venting about your partner, which again, you can still cross a lot of lines doing that. But I do think the framing
Is
of
important.
both those are two very different situations because I've seen both happen. And, you know, people who just like openly just talk shit about their partners, to me, I think that's that's, you know, that's as much of a violation as cheating to me in some cases. Like if you're going around just like thinking this is someone who has your back.
Yeah, it's
you
like
know,
emotional
and you're just
infidelity
like
in a way,
out there
right?
just like so-and-so's like, yeah, no, they fucking hate you. Versus someone who, again, who's just like sitting down with some friends and thinking it's confidence and then venting. But maybe it sounds like you were also inebriated or something.
Yeah,
and
well, I remember in these conversations, it was always like, I love Emmy and I'm concerned about these things. And I'm worried that maybe we're growing apart. And part of the issue is one, like I didn't have friends when I went to law school that really understood us or our relationship. So I didn't have that outlet when I was like in school. So I'd come into Charleston for the weekend and it was like on my mind pressing. And then I, you know, added alcohol to the mix and blurred the lines of sort of who and where it was appropriate to have these conversations. But they weren't just to strangers. They were to our coworkers that have known me and Emmy for years. And I think some people who brought it up said like, oh, he's telling the whole town, even one of my clients or like one of my friends. But those clients and friends are like, one of them was Naomi Olindo from Charm, who was my pen pal in middle school, who I've known for years. But like that sort of context wasn't added to the conversation.
Gotcha.
You know, and one was like somebody's roommate who I worked with behind the bar at Republic for years, who knows me and Emmy well. And I was sort of like leaning into those relationships to try to say like, I just wanted someone to be like, no, you're stupid. Like this shouldn't be a concern.
And how did it get back to you?
He told me.
How quickly?
Pretty much immediately.
Like he said, hey, I've been like venting.
He came to me and he basically was just like, I, you know, expressed to others, you know, issues that I was having in our relationship. And I feel bad that I didn't come to you about it. And I think for me, what the biggest issue at hand, like at the time, none of my friends came to me about it. So it didn't seem like it was this crazy thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, you just vented to some of our friends about it. That's fine. No one's come to me about it. I personally keep my relationship between Will and myself. I call my mom. I vent to my mom. That's basically myself. But for me, I was like, I mean, I was pissed, but none of my friends came to me about it. They just happened to bring it to me almost 3 months later.
I mean, there was some things that people were saying, and obviously, like, you never know what's true, what's exaggerated, what gets thrown in there for an extra little, like, flair. But was there anything that your castmates were telling you that he said that he had not openly said to you?
No, Will basically said everything that my castmates said to me. My castmates obviously used a little bit more intense terms.
Yeah.
Like anorexic. He hates, like, kind of went
work out
really,
yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, I mean, going deeper into who I am, like I've struggled with my own image and body issues, and I'm almost 17 months sober right now.
Wow,
No, I am. March
congratulations.
1st, I was 17 months sober. And, for me, this was the first time that, I've really gotten myself healthy the right way, cutting out drinking, working out, doing all the things. And in the past, when I had lost weight, it was probably not the healthiest way. And so Will was just expressing concern because he was up at law school and wasn't here with me going through these motions when I was like in the heart of, going through my healthy new lifestyle. And he was venting to others being like, is she okay? Like, I'm not here. I'm asking the people that are closest to her about this. I feel like there's a distance in our relationship. And it's the first year of law school. And
I think too, like I've always been hyper aware of it because I love her and I care about her. And in the past, like I've had to throw her scale out before because when I don't,
it's fine. It's
yeah.
fine, it's
Okay.
fine, it's
Sorry.
fine.
But like she's can become obsessive. And I was worried. I was seeing this change and I was hoping that it was attributed to this lifestyle, but I just didn't know. And I was sort of going to the people that are around her the most and saying like, am I crazy? Do I need to be concerned?
Have you confronted any of these people who kind of went behind your back and turned what, in your mind, again, like lesson learned, but it sounds like what you're saying was in good faith?
No, I mean, I think the time and the place was inappropriate of me. And, I'm just willing to fall on my sword. Like what I did was not right. I should have gone to Emmy about it. Going and trying to confront these people isn't really, to me, like the point of this all.
Like
I think the point of it was just to learn from this, to figure out how to communicate better in my own relationship, and like going for vengeance or trying to hold someone accountable for
maybe
lying.
get a therapist.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Sure. I mean, I don't
it doesn't
mean, like,
make my
I don't mean
relationship
pick a
with
fight,
Emmy,
but just
Yeah.
more like,
Yeah, but
my
my number one priority is my relationship with Emmy. So, and these people, this was never an issue until the cameras came out.
Like I can't emphasize that enough.
So-
I really can't emphasize that enough.
Oh, it was like one of those things where it
This
was like,
happened.
where was this?
This
Yeah.
happened at the end of March.
Well, some people also decided that they were going to save it for the cameras and they wouldn't have conversations with us. They wouldn't hang out with us. They
But
didn't
wait,
want to
Who
really.
are those some people?
Just so you guys, this happened at the end of March and this didn't get brought to me until the end of June. Just so you guys know.
When cameras were rolling.
Yes. So the way that it worked, like these people knew about it, Brad, TJ, and I'm giving Maddie and Michael's an exception to this because one, Maddie didn't owe me anything at that point. We were just rebuilding our friendship. She doesn't owe a conversation with me about it. And two, Michael's didn't have a relationship with Will. So I can understand where Michael's felt uncomfortable. And Michael's and Maddie did not want to speak on it. It's Brad and TJ who have a relationship with Will and I for 3 years now, who know the both of us, who had every opportunity to have said something to us between the end of March and before filming started. And even when filming started, it was like, yeah, they had a conversation with Will, but then they love to be like, we're closer to Emmy. Okay, then where was my conversation with you guys? The dinner table at the lake house with 12 people around us, 8 cameras, and a production team behind us. That's when you finally want to bring up something that is something I've definitely like was hard in our relationship that because you've been best friends with us. I'm like, you want me to sit here now and be calm? I'm going to lose my shit. Like,
That's valid. Did you not feel like Michael's being one of your closest friends? And did he not say, was he at the bar when you
Mhm.
came in? Did you not feel like that was a little bit of a betrayal from Michael's, just like not coming to you as your friend, being like, hey, I don't know your boyfriend, but he did say this, and like, I'm your friend first?
because it was on the clock, I think that Michael's felt like it was manager Michael's, not my circus, not my monkeys. This is not my relationship, not my business. Like, I don't know Will like enough to get involved in it. Michael's also wasn't even 22 years old yet when it happened. He's a baby. He's
Yeah.
21. Like, he's learning life himself still. So I give him a lot of grace for that.
But once those cameras were rolling, he sat you down.
Well, that was once it had already been brought up on camera for the past week. And when Lake came to him at the front door, that was the first time he realized that people were talking about it. He did not say anything.
And once the
about it.
toothpaste is out of the tube in front of the cameras, like,
It's kind of like,
yeah, it's
They
getting
gotta deal with
talked
it.
about.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and Michael's coming to me one-on-one. I respected that. I didn't lose my shit. I stayed very calm. I was like, this is great conversation. It's once I have and I get it. Like, I get it. But these are supposed to be like my real friends, like
Mhm.
not just like my show friends. Like, these are people who we vacation with and spend our free time with the other 9 months of the year.
Mhm.
And for me, I was like, you really think I'm going to think this is authentic if you're going to sit me at a table right now on Lakesport. This is a classic Bravo move right here.
Did you feel the contradictory between when you did sit down with Michaels in one-on-one where he was like, you were like, yeah, I've known about this. And he was like, well, why didn't you tell me? Did you not feel the like, well, why didn't you tell me?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, and what I tried to explain, I don't know if the viewers got this, was like, my relationship is between Will and myself. I'm not going to go around yapping about our relationship.
My bad.
It's because I'm like, I know how this, I know what job I have. I know what career this is. And I know how evil our castmates can be. And I know how they can twist narratives. And I know how they can mess with people's storylines in their lives. And I don't trust them to a certain degree, especially with something that's so valuable to me, which is like my relationship with Will. This isn't some funny like game to me. This is my life. This is the person I've been dating.
It was my mistake to not think this would ever come onto the TV show because I think it was just naive of me. And in seasons past, I think the producers were very clear that like if it doesn't happen when we're rolling, we're not really too concerned about it.
Always have been said that.
Yeah. So just stupid of me to think that we weren't going to have to litigate this 4 months
It
later.
feels like, I feel like that's how things start in good faith.
I'd also imagine producers went around and were like, what's kind of been going on? And they were like, well, Will came and was yapping about Emmy.
Well, yeah, they always sit down with us before we start.
But there's also a
season.
fine line though, too, right?
What?
Like devil's in the details. You're a lawyer, you know that, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just like
Almost.
if it doesn't, unless it happens on camera, we don't care about it. Well, it happened on camera once they bring it up on camera, and then once they bring it up on camera, it happens on camera. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
hard though. I'd rather it have happened on camera because then you have all the context. But when the story's told months later,
and I've already gone through all the emotions and processed this and healed the issue in our relationship, and then it's like, okay, I'm on a TV show now. And this is 3 months later, right? I know how this show works. You have to film it for 10 weeks. You have to go in your green screens then for the next 6 months. And then you have to go sit at a reunion in February. And I'm like, okay, this happened in March. This is 10, 11 months later now from an issue that if it would have been during filming, would have only been like 8 months later. So it's like, I really don't get to just put a lid on what happened. It's like you have to keep reopening it and living it and go. And I'm just kind of like, oh my God. And like no one was listening.
I bet you'll never talk Should Be 100 back again, man. You really had to.
not due to any TV show. I think the idea is that I learned my lesson the first time. But the thing that I think hurt me the most was that no one came to me either and was like, yo, Will, what's up? Like, why'd you do this? Are you okay? Is your relationship good? Even just in like, hey, you had concerns 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. How's your relationship doing? What's the update? And instead, I think it was like oh, let's put a ribbon on this. This will be a great storyline for me where I can go on the offensive this next season. I don't have to talk about my life. I don't have to be interesting. I can just kind of take this rotten flesh and throw the hyenas
at
at
Brad
it.
and TJ.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, because they're like, well, why didn't you come to us? And I'm like, you're still the ones that brought it. You're still the ones that brought it to me.
I don't
You still
know.
did it. You can't tell me that you felt uncomfortable and all of a sudden at Lake's birthdays when you finally feel comfortable. Like,
I don't know if you need to be told this, but those two people are not y'all's friends.
Yeah.
Like
TJ for sure.
Well, I think when he said,
because TJ's talks, we can get into TJ, but TJ's.
I think they both have their flaws.
oh, trust me. I mean, Brad's
They're-
just done a
they're
good job of
different.
hiding it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Staying focused at work can be incredibly challenging, especially when you have multiple windows open on your computer, emails, messages, documents, and more, all vying for your attention every time you switch between tasks. It's easy to get distracted, or maybe you and your team are bad spellers and proofreaders. Listen, you hire your people to do what they're good at. And listen, yes, there are some day-to-day remedial work that needs to get done, like proofreading emails and making sure you're spelling things correctly. But that just takes time. Let the good people at Grammarly help your team become more efficient, allowing them to get work done and do the things that you hired them to do, and stop wasting all the time proofreading emails and spell checking and things like that. Let Grammarly do that for you. Grammarly helps with any writing from brainstorming to sounding more confident and persuasive. 90% of professionals say Grammarly has saved them time writing and editing their work. Or 4 out of 5 professionals say Grammarly has helped them gain buy-in and action through their communication. Write and edit quickly with context-aware suggestions. Everywhere you write, Grammarly works across more than 500,000 apps and websites. 93% of professionals report that Grammarly helps them get more work done. For 15 years, Grammarly has helped professionals do more with their writing. Their data is secure and never sold. Grammarly helps the good people at Envy get their work done faster, and you and your team can as well. Get more done with Grammarly. Download Grammarly for free at Grammarly.com/podcast. That's Grammarly.com/podcast. This episode of the Viall Files is brought to you by Wild Grain. Wild Grain is the first baked from frozen subscription box for artisanal breads, pastries, and pastas. Wild Grain boxes are fully customizable to your taste and dietary restrictions. In addition to their classic variety box, they recently launched a new gluten-free box and a plant-based box that is 100% vegan. Best of all, they take the hassle out of baking since it's all baked from frozen in 25 minutes or less with no mess or cleanup. And I'm telling you, people, the taste is extraordinary. You would never have guessed that it is frozen. It is so incredibly easy and simple and convenient. It's shipped right to your door, and you put in that loaf of whatever you are desiring. Maybe it's some croissants, maybe it's some delicious artisanal bread. And in just 25 minutes, you'll have some fresh out of the oven, tasty, hot, delicious bread. It can't be beat. They have a great selection. You will not regret it. If you are a bread lover like we are, feel good about the bread you're eating with Wild Grain. Are you ready to bring all your favorite carbs right to your doorstep? Be sure to check out Wild Grain so you can begin building your own box of artisanal breads, pastas, and pastries. For a limited time, Wild Grain is offering our listeners $30 off their first box, plus free croissants in every box when you go to wildgrain.com/VIALL to start your subscription. And those croissants are delicious, so just a heads up there. You heard me, free croissants in every box, and get $30 off your first box when you go to wildgrain.com/VIALL. That is wildgrain.com/VIALL, and you can use our promo code VIALL at checkout. You said evil. Do you actually think any of your castmates are actual evil?
I think there's one in particular that
TJ?
enjoys hurting people.
Not TJ.
I think Brad enjoys inflicting pain on others.
Really?
I don't know how else to explain his behavior.
What makes you say that?
I mean, does this go back to the bomb that was dropped at reunion, or is it further back than that?
No, exactly.
I think hindsight's 2020 for sure.
I mean, it all starts from the very beginning, which was in season 1. Me, Maddie, and Will, we kind of brought these cheating allegations to Brad, being like, we know that you slept with this woman. And
he was home-wrecking a relationship.
When this woman was dating another man.
Bradley was.
While Bradley was seeing Maddie's best friend. And these two women worked together at Republic. And so we outed Brad for that. Maddie then says that she saw him getting a BJ behind the Republic alley. She outs him for that. Brad is very... Now listen, I'm pretty sure those are both... I know the first one's true. The second one, I'm like, okay. And so Brad's pissed off. And 6 weeks before we start filming season 2, his client and him, essentially...
He found a girl.
He found a girl that had gone out with Trevor one night. And the girl, Sammy, the real story is she went out with Trevor and she actually made out with his friend at the bar and went home with his friend. Never Trevor. And for the next 6 weeks, Brad and this girl were conspiring to get her to hang out with Trevor again so that
Brad
they could
was
make
coaching
out.
her
So he's setting people
No,
up.
He was
for the
coaching
first-
her to cheat.
And yes, coaching her. And when that
this is
didn't
what
happen,
the text show at the reunion. That's the text that Andy saw is Brad saying, I found a girl who's going to break up their relationship.
and
Maddie and Trevor.
Maddie
Yes.
and Trevor's. And just so we are clear, in the group chat is myself, Will, TJ, Joe Bradley, Mia Alario, and Bradley Carter himself. So just so we know.
And this is the thing that Maddie was really upset about in the beginning in the reunion.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Yes.
I came to Maddie the night before the reunion because I just have had too many crazy things dropped on me on the stage, like with the cameras and everything. And I had so much. Will wasn't there either. Will didn't bring this to Maddie. Will wasn't in the
I
room.
was in a meeting downstairs and I walked
Joe
up to the
wasn't-
hotel room and I was like, oh no, this is happening, isn't it?
I was alone with Maddie. Joe wasn't even there. And I looked at Maddie and I said, has Joe told you the truth about what Brad did? And she goes, no, what are you talking about? And my heart's like beating out of my chest. And I'm like, Brad conspired with Sammy and lied. Trevor never cheated on you with Sammy. Brad made it all up. You were right the entire time.
How did Brad get away with?
Because he's a manipulative.
Because he definitely was not the focus. at
He's
the
a really
reunion.
good liar. He's a really
Well,
good
I think
liar.
the story also, like, it's not just that he found this girl and he coached her to try to break up the relationship. When that didn't work, when Trevor wouldn't do it, he said, well, we can just say that you made out with him. If you go on camera, I'll bring you around the cameras. You say it. You can't prove a negative. And then we'll see what happens.
That's like some
Now you know why I freaked out all season.
Like freaky level shit that he's capable of doing that and like doesn't really have I mean, he showed zero remorse for that at the reunion. He was like, listen, I can take accountability and like that was fucked up. I'm sorry.
He you know, what was really just Rich is like, he's so good at lying, we forgot the truth during filming. Like it wasn't until we went to a dinner, I remember like Brad saying something and Will being like, what? Like he was so good at, like, we forgot that it wasn't even real. The people that were like aware of it forgot that it wasn't even real. And before we filmed the season 2 reunion, TJ was texting Brad saying, I'm going to out you for making up the Trevor Sammy cheating rumor.
I need a storyline for the reunion because I'm worried I won't make it to season 3. So
TJ was saying this.
I have 3 options.
He was texting Brad himself, and Brad said,
well, he says I have 3 options. I can either
no, he doesn't say I have 3 options.
Well, this is what he was telling me.
Later on he does.
He says I can either out Joe and Luann, who have hooked up. I can out you for the Sammy thing, or I can talk about this cheating rumor I've heard about Mia and her boyfriend. And he picked the Luann thing because it had the most steam because it's connected to another Bravo show. And that's what he went with.
That's crazy.
And so full circle, then, you know, we start filming season 3 and I'm like, okay, it's going to be all
Wait,
kumbaya.
no, but on the text messages that from the reunion is text from Brad to Emmy saying, I can never be the same kind of friend that or from my friendship with TJ is ultimately broken because he would threaten to do this.
Like he's going to out me for this. Like I would have never told him, like, and I'm like, you know, Will and I aren't innocent of this either. Like we were complicit in knowing the information and not speaking up, but we didn't conspire with Sammy. Like if you watch season 2, you don't see any scenes of Will and I like
bringing her around
or anything.
We had our own stuff going on.
Yeah, we had our own shit going on. But I mean, it's messed up.
So you're saying that Joe Bradley knew about this and he also never told Maddie?
Yeah, I'm the one that told Maddie, and she literally just
How long did Joe know? For?
He's known in the original group message.
The group message. This happened April.
Why wasn't that addressed at the reunion?
It was a short reunion. They cut a lot of it. All of this was spoken about, but only so much was made the cut.
I think Joe will say anything that people want to hear to their face sometimes. And, you know, that means he's got to stay friends with everyone, which means he's not ever going to turn his back on Brad. He's too scared. And he's not going to tell Maddie what she doesn't
not
want to
just
hear.
that. I think more importantly, the thing with Joe is that how do you tell the woman you're dating, by the way, I was complicit in a fake cheating rumor against you and your ex-boyfriend?
And I think too, like, I just want to address like our complicity. Like
it's messed up.
We felt horrible about it. And we felt like we were carrying this around for a long time. And since we've gotten closer with Maddie again and with Joe and their relationship, like we really became real friends with them. And
I really love Maddie.
Watching what happened to us this season and knowing that Maddie went through that herself made
like
me
knowing the truth of what she went through.
Yeah. Like when I came up to the hotel room and Emmy was doing this, like I started crying to Maddie because I was like, I can't imagine what you've been through. And I'm so ashamed that I even had touched this, and like knowing what I know now. And I hate that it was my own pain that made me realize this. Cause I think that's not really a great quality to have to be hurt yourself to do the right thing, but
sure. Part of life. How old are you guys?
Part of life.
How old are you?
I'm 26, almost 27.
We're 31 and 27 on Wednesday.
Don't say that now. We're 26 and 30.
Yeah.
You're definitely old enough to know better.
No.
Yeah.
I had a few Peter Pan years. So
not just that. I also think you kind of get wrapped up in the game. Like sometimes you get wrapped up in the whole, no pun intended, but production of it all. You just got wrapped up in it. And I think for some people, for Joe, probably his motive was Trevor's a shitty dude. I don't like him anyways. He cheated on you once. You shouldn't be in this relationship. Like, I don't really care. And for Brad, it was, I'm going to ruin your relationship because I'm vindictive and spiteful and I want to see you miserable. And so it's 2 different motives with the same conclusion.
So how much of the rumors about you in law school cheating stem from Brad?
It was hard because I think we never really knew what the rumor was or anything about it. And it came up at that Vegas dinner, and we were actually told by production, like, there's no proof to any of this. If you talk about it or try to address it on camera, it's going to gain traction and it's going to stay a storyline. right now it's so dumb that we hope it gets cut.
Like just
Like it's
let
not
it
a big
die.
deal.
That
So,
makes sense. Yeah.
you know, we were actively discouraged from talking about it, from trying to address it or anything. So we never really figured it all out until.
Well, I imagine you
sort of-
also didn't want to talk about something.
Well, it
you-
was like ridiculous.
Well, it's just like back to season 2.
Well, that's what I was going to say is that like, I think what people don't realize is that this all came out like supposedly this was a rumor started at the law school in February, which was the exact time season 2 was airing.
January and February of last year.
So people are watching a show where it's like, oh yeah, Will hooked up with a girl in a bathroom. And then that's somehow the same exact rumor. So in my mind, it's just this one rumor sort of getting regurgitated through a TV show into a,
Game of telephone.
into like an environment that doesn't understand reality TV, that doesn't know who I am. And it's easy to just say, oh yeah, that's Will, that's the thing. I'm not even sure that was the rumor at the law school. We had a phone call with Austin's girlfriend before. So we didn't think like this was getting discussed on the TV show anymore. And then we were
did-
like,
I
we
had a
heard
phone-
that they were
I
filming.
had a phone. So
Yeah.
let me clarify this. Will texted Austin's girlfriend's brother
The night of prom.
the night
right?
before. The night was it the morning?
It was the
of
day
prom,
of.
The day
prom.
of prom, because all of a sudden shit's getting fishy. Everyone's acting weird. I'm trying to mend my relationship with TJ and Brad. They're acting weird as shit, and I'm like, something's going on.
We also heard that they filmed a scene about the cheating rumor.
Yeah,
but
I'm
we
like-
thought this was like off the table.
and we're like, oh, what the hell are they doing? So we're like, okay, let's call.
Oh, you must have had total anxiety.
We don't know what's going on, so we're like, okay, what do we do?
We're like, this
Will's
is a fucking
gonna text
ambush.
Yeah.
Allie's brother. So Will texts Allie's brother.
Well, that's where we thought this rumor came from. So I'm like, okay, this is a person who's just
We're
graduated law
guessing
school.
the whole time.
I just as a professional courtesy as a law student said like, I don't want to involve you in this thing. Like, I just feel like I need to ask you personally. And if you tell me you're not involved, I'm going to make sure that we don't mention you or your name anymore in
This
the TV
is your
show.
friend, colleague, the person who was.
This is
Austin's
the
situation.
girlfriend's brother who we had assumed that this rumor came from. And he
'Cause
said,
it's the only link between Austin and the law school. And no one ever told us where this rumor came from, so we were guessing.
I texted him just saying like, look, I want to protect you from sort of what reality TV can be as a professional courtesy. And what happened is that Austin wasn't supposed to be dating Allie because they have sort of a weird history
Really weird.
and the family does not like him. And he was like, oh, first off, I didn't even know that they were dating. That's not good. And second, I've never heard anything but great things about you at the law school. I've never heard this rumor anywhere. So Allie is
Her brother then I guess reaches out to her and is like, what the hell is going on? And Allie ends up calling me. And this is literally right before I go to prom. She tells me Austin was encouraged to exaggerate the rumor or to make it more juicy.
encouraged by whom?
People
Okay.
probably
People-
with some headphones and
Understood.
microphones.
Yep.
Yeah.
That basically she was like, this isn't true. Like he's just been encouraged to talk about it for juiciness. And I'm like,
yeah. And at this point, we were so like tripped up. And it was sort of, we felt so David and Goliath about it. We recorded this conversation. So we have the receipt of Allie saying,
I don't trust anyone. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm recording
Wow.
this.
So we have Allie.
That's smart.
We have Allie recorded telling us that this rumor is
Yeah.
complete bullshit. So that's us walking through the finale. We know our friends are fishy. We know that this is sort of come out of nowhere.
You also know that they're willing to do whatever it takes.
We know
to
that they're
Why?
willing to do whatever it
Ever it
takes for
takes.
storyline. And so like when you watch the finale and the reunion, that's sort of the prerequisite, like facts
and
needed
also it's
to
like
understand like where our heads are at.
this rumor really flopped with Austin after Vegas. I mean, if you guys watch the episode when they're at Run Club, Austin's like, I don't know anything else going on. Like, I don't know. Like, it just kind
Which
of,
would make sense
I-
based on the phone call.
and he's
Right.
like, I don't know anything else. And then Brad and TJ are like,
We will go.
we've got this.
we will
We're going to
fight
take
till
this
the
truth and we'll
end.
build two lies, and this is going to be magic. That's why at the finale, it makes more sense now why when we went to go talk to Austin, TJ and
Mhm.
Brad came around, because Austin probably didn't believe the rumor anymore at that point, because he was like, there's nothing
All
else.
of them saying you walking away means you're guilty is, I mean, just the biggest crock of shit I've ever heard in my life. It's
Thank
like
you.
you're walking away because it's like, this is nonsense and no one, this isn't
Well, you
productive.
got ambushed. You guys
Well,
got
also,
ambushed.
like,
Yeah, it's
by the
like-
Craig
group.
walked away when he got accused of Paige cheating on him, and that scene last season. I'm like, people walk away when it's so dumb. Why would you give it any breath?
Yeah.
Well, also what TJ and Brad tried to do was bring in stories of my peers in law school and try to use it as ammunition to make it true. And some of these stories are incredibly sensitive, where I was helping people out who were going through like difficult situations, that I did not want to then expose or talk about their situations on camera. Like, I let a girl stay at my apartment when me and Emmy were filming the reunion together. Emmy knew about it.
Season 2 reunion. We're up in New York. We're
Emmy knew
500
about
miles
it.
away.
That's the girl.
That's the you let a girl stay in your place.
For
from
weeks.
Brad.
It was 2 nights.
Who's just a friend that happened to be a female in a situation where,
she was in a bad situation and she was moving into the apartment complex, and you said, you can like
put your boxes in my apartment, here are my keys. If you need to sleep on the couch, because I know that you're going through a lot, go for it. It might be a better place for you.
What did you make of Mia saying you were the most unfriendly person she's ever met and you would never offer for someone to sleep?
It's rich coming from Mia.
Yeah, it's
Also, can I come to Will's defense for that? It's just like, I'm a dick to some people and nice to others. Just because I don't like you, or I don't, whoever you are, doesn't mean I haven't been nice to other people.
Yeah, but Mia is also
everyone...
not very friendly. So if she's like the gauge of friendliness, then the gauge is a little broken.
Okay. Okay.
But Mia's sassy, and she'll be the first person to tell you, I don't have empathy. I'm not an empathetic person.
Yeah.
She will fully admit that. So for her to then,
but one person decides like how the world treats me is how, I guess, apparently.
Yeah. But so then it's like to litigate this issue with people that are betraying us, that are supposed to be our friends, based on this like prerequisite situation that's like incredibly complex and difficult to then, when a camera's in your face, like go through all these steps about why we feel this way. Because
it's also like clearly you two made decisions within your relationship like couples do all the time, and someone got wind of something that y'all decided to do and thought it was their position to like interrogate the two of you about it, where it's like you're like, no, I was there, I knew she was staying, I was like on board with her staying, like we have no.
And I don't regret it. I would do it over again. I don't care about the outcome.
But it's like they feel like they deserve for y'all to come to them and tell them every decision that the two of you make in your relationship.
And then when they have concerns, they don't ask. It's just like an isolate and ambush, right?
Yeah, they want to
isolate us from the group, stir up the hottest pot of tea that you can find, and then splash it scaldingly hot into our faces. And then watch Emmy cry and watch me walk away. And they figured, hey, that's good.
It's a good recipe for TV.
It's a great recipe. I can't blame them because it worked pretty well.
They're the kind of people that are also like, keep us totally involved in your relationship, tell all of us, but like shame on Will for telling anyone about your relationship. I'm like, what do you
also
want?
Like, we're really worried law school is gonna be hard in your relationship, and then it is, and then it's like, how dare you let this be hard on your relationship?
So where did does law school have a prom? I wasn't aware that was a thing.
It's called Barrister's Ball.
Okay.
See, I told you.
Yeah, it's like a thing. Every law school has it. Okay. It's essentially just
lawyers
like
want to party too. I get it. Okay.
Yeah, lawyers love partying.
You know the funniest thing, Will didn't even go to the Barrister's Ball.
Yeah,
he didn't even go.
Oh, where you took.
So that was
girl.
the whole. You
didn't
took
buy
some
a ticket.
Girl to
yeah, like that. That's just total crock. And then if you look at like what the finale was in the setting, like. In my mind, I'm like, imagine all of this is true. What were they setting Emmy up for?
To be humiliated.
Right?
They're expecting this to be true. So they're expecting me to invest my time into making a law school prom reenactment, during filming. And then for my friends in the middle of this prom to drop, hey, by the way, Will cheated on you with the girl that he brought to his law school prom. Bam. And I'm just kind of like, you guys are fucked up.
Well, it's kind of what Maddie said, where it's like, when I guess TJ comes to her and is telling her, and she's like, oh my God. So she's trying to throw a prom to make up for the fact that he took someone else to his law prom.
No, I wanted Emmy to come to my law prom with me.
I was skiing with my dad in Aspen.
She didn't tell her dad the weekend, and he booked a trip to Aspen for them. And I was upset with her. I was like, I really want to take you. And then I was sat at home.
So how did you end up in the show in the first place?
He did, not me.
Yeah, so
Is it your fault?
It's sort of complex, but I was managing and bartending and modeling in New York and COVID hit. And I came back to Charleston and I had like an LSAT book on my desk for years because I'd always wanted to go, and I dusted it off and I was like, all right, I got to make ends meet, in the interim. So I started working at Levis Bars. So I worked up the street at this place called First Place, which is now Lamar's. And I was seeing a girl at the time, and this is the same.
You don't have to get that's. It's gonna be
so very
complicated.
Complex, but it was the girl Reagan from season 1, and then that was the girl that I was seeing before Emmy. But we could do a whole podcast on this.
We would need like a whole a
Anyways,
chart
it's your
behind
fault
us.
that you guys got on this show.
So they saw me and Reagan sort of hooking up, and we were both sort of eccentric people, and we were working for Leva, and they were coming to shoot sort of like, not like a pilot, but they were doing
Test the waters.
Yeah, they were testing the waters and
interviewing.
And I was like, this seems fun. It sort of fell into my lap. I never wanted to do reality TV, and it was never a dream of mine. I still feel a little cringe that I'm doing it. But me and Emmy had just started seeing each other, and they were filming the intro, and Emmy was blacked out drunk, and I was like, she kept coming up and distracting me because we were doing this big long shot.
I could ruin all the scenes.
And so everyone had to get their marks right, because it was like they were filming all 10 of us in one long shot, which I don't think made the final edit, but it was a cool concept. But Emmy kept coming up and distracting me like right as it was mine, and they'd have to reset. So I was like,
they're like, who is this blonde girl?
So I
Like
was
keeps
Emmy,
ruining all the scenes.
So I was like, Emmy, you got to get out of here. And we were like bickering. And then I put her in a pedicab, and she went home. And
Trevor drove me home. No, I'm kidding.
No, yeah. And then her contacts fell out, and she came back, and she's super blind. So she was like Velma in the bar.
He's mixing the story up a little bit.
So much. But basically whoever was shooting this was like, who's that girl, and what is this relationship between Will and Emmy? Okay. And then Emmy got casted shortly after.
Okay.
And then what is your relationship status with the show as of today?
It's difficult for me. I think the clearest thing for me is that I'll always support Emmy in her position in the show. I think that I've probably ruffled some feathers by I've certainly ruffled some feathers by not going to the reunion. Yeah, it's something, I'm not I regret it a little bit.
What was the ultimate decision
Yeah,
to
like
not
why?
show up?
I mean, for the critics who are listening to this now and saying, well, why didn't you just go to the reunion and plead your case there with all your peers and give them a chance to, respond and yada, yada. What would you say to that?
Yeah,
he didn't trust that they would tell the truth.
Yeah, I think we were just starting because of the way that the show had portrayed me in our relationship. It felt like that I would have to dig myself out from under a mountain. And the ways that I would address it would need like a long form segment just to try to break down all the nuances. And on top of that, the people on the stage I knew are just very interested in whether or not they're making it to the next season and are sort of willing to say or do whatever.
They wanted that fight.
And and it was just going to be a bloodbath. It wasn't like I could come on here and explain to you guys like, hey, this is what happened, and we could have like an engaging conversation. It would have been sort of
Liar.
2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And these people, they aren't my friends anymore. And they were going to be on that stage and try to act like we were still friends and use that as a position of power to engage in a conversation with me that I felt was ultimately a fake conversation. And I also just like my mental health at this point couldn't take it.
It sounds like you're not sure what your future holds. And it almost sounds like you're not even sure if you even have the opportunity to come back if you wanted to. But if you did, where do you stand if you were given the opportunity to put water under the bridge and come back to season 4, even though you didn't show up? Would you say yes, or are you still on the fence?
I'm still on the fence. I think, I think there's some conversations I need to have about how the show is filmed. And I also think that like the 2 most important things in my life right now are my relationship and, what's left of my legal career after all this. But I just don't see reality TV as a format where relationships thrive.
Yeah, no, you're definitely, I think you're the exception, not the rule if you are in a relationship.
Yeah, I think
I
there's
mean, we
more.
had Taylor Green on recently,
I know
and
Taylor
she
very
said
well.
she mentioned to you guys that before season 1, your relationship would probably be under fire. Did you think it would be this intense?
No, we didn't think it'd be this bad, but we probably should have.
Yeah.
Sorry, what
I
were you
mean,
gonna say?
Spencer and Heidi might be the only couple that's really made it.
Amanda and
through.
Kyle, and they've gone
Amanda and
through
Kyle.
the ringer.
And
I feel.
honestly, I don't know how they make it. 'Cause-
Yeah.
'cause-
I mean, yeah.
Brad recently posted.
He blocked both of us, so we don't see anything.
Well, it's made its way onto some fan pages.
Yeah.
He posted a picture in front of a law school saying like law school 101, how to
Yeah,
cheat on your
it's-
girlfriend.
I applaud his commitment to
the
trying
bit.
to make me feel bad.
Took a field trip to do
Yeah,
that.
he took a field trip. I think it's funny because I'm not
He
sure.
took a field trip to take this photo.
I think it is so weird.
That's weird.
that these people are so invested in
Yeah,
your
and-
relationship.
I think he's. I'll just say that he's probably taking a picture on the outside. I'm not sure he could
Make
get
it.
in. But
It's super weird. I mean, listen, I get it. Like, people cheat. There's rumors circulating about all types of people, blah, 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 blah. And like, it's like the age-old question, right? Like, if you have a friend, you've heard a rumor about infidelity between, two people who are dating, like, do you say something or do you not say something,
Yeah.
right? That's always like a debate, right? And like,
unless it's like cold hard evidence you walked in
whatever.
on
I mean,
it,
you
or
can debate it.
even then,
It's
right?
not. My point is, like, it's not even like, there's a lot of opinions about whether you should say something or not. For the people who
And
would
who you
argue,
say it to,
yeah,
right?
right.
Yeah.
But for the people who say, you should say something, and I think there's a time and a place for, like, you know what? I think the truth needs to prevail. Fucking just put it out there. It might not be received well. You might burn some bridges by you just speaking your truth. But like, sometimes maybe the truth needs to get out. But there's a difference between doing that and like fucking making it your whole, fucking mission in your whole life and becoming invested in the story and like making sure that whoever you tell believes you. It's just like, wait, what?
It's crazy.
Like, who gives a fuck?
Well,
like,
then it's like, who are you other than the fact that you've attached yourself to this story?
And
it just becomes really weird. And people do, I mean, Brad's not the first person in the
TJ.
world.
He won't be
who,
the
like,
last
make
either.
Their whole existence about like making sure other people believe some kind of rumor that has nothing to do with them. I don't know why people
Yeah, that's
do it.
also not true and has never
none
had a
of
single
our-
receipt.
None of our actual friends that aren't on the show, none of my girlfriends came to me. No one ever heard any of this.
No, even if they did come to you. I mean,
But-
I'm just saying, like,
but
there's a
it-
difference between
that's-
asking you a question and being like, hey, babe, and like, what's up? Versus
But
like,
for me, that was
I
the
know what you're
craziest
doing.
part too. And I don't know if it made the cut, but I literally said it took Mia 24 hours to hear that Will talk shit about me. You think it's going to take 7 months to hear that Will's cheating on me and taking other people to there's going to be pictures, there's going to be text messages, there's going to be a roommate, there's going to be so much evidence. You think it's going to take 7 months? I'm like, shut up.
I mean, the fact that TJ, one of them, was like, I'm going to make this my life mission and came up with nothing. If he showed up to the reunion with not 1 ounce of proof or a new
Nothing.
life to
No
any
one
of
did.
the rumors, which just feels really nasty to me that like people still had the audacity to raise their hands when Andy questioned like who still thinks Will cheated on Emmy.
oh, then the girls who were laughing.
Oh my fucking God.
What's
Yeah,
wrong
that
with
was
them?
really mean girl energy between
They are-
Mia, Grace,
Oh, wait,
Lily,
Grace
and
and-
Lake.
yeah, with
Lake is
Lake
real
and-
mean.
Yeah.
She's just spoiled and she doesn't know life. It's
yeah,
gonna
she
hit her in the
also
face one
doesn't
day.
understand our dynamic. Like, she's been here 5 minutes and
The girls
It's-
are not tight. That's my biggest issue with this season. There was no investment in having a girls' night and getting us all getting to know each other and us having our own. We never had one scene where it was just like the girls filming together. And for me, I'm just kind of like, I'm not going to get to know these people in these different environments. You know, Grace and Maddie, I've known for a long time. Mia didn't film besides the last 3 weeks of filming, you know, because she was in Trinidad. She was gone. And so for me, I was like, I don't know who Molly is.
I
I
kind
don't-
of, honest, be honest, keep forgetting who Mia and Grace are. I kind of like, oh my god,
Grace is iconic though. So
Grace is
that's, I
iconic.
don't know if I'm let that one
I don't,
slip.
and maybe she is. I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
don't.
Grace is iconic.
She's not in every episode.
Yeah.
Grace
Yeah.
means well. Okay, Grace means well. Like at the end of the
Kind
day,
of mean at the reunion.
yeah, I know.
It was
Um,
hard to watch the three of them laughing at you as you're like breaking down about a friendship. It's like,
I mean, you know, Michael's was a real one during all that. You know, it didn't make the cut, but he stood up for me and was like,
did he?
he was
Good.
yelling at Molly at one point. But
Yeah,
I'm-
Molly didn't get 1 ounce of airtime.
yeah,
this
and I'm not going to
reunion.
give her any here. But
Okay. Period.
you know, I just, you know, from my wish, you know, for next year is that there's actual girls who want to be on the show, women that want to be on the show that have their own identity and that don't have to leech onto mine, that can make their own statement and be interesting by themselves, who are a little bit more mature and actually captivating and interesting.
Yeah.
And that fit well with the group and will last for a long time. Because if I'm going to be with you for a long time, you know,
let's be
I mean, the
friends.
girls got to
Yeah.
stick together. I think that's what makes great television is like a group of girlfriends that you can tell at the end of the day, they do love each other and there is love there, but like they fight like any relationship. There is just none of that with your
No.
cast.
Mia's taken the bitchy title. No one else can take it. We need other different personality types.
When it comes to my hair goals, I'm all about growing it out and healing those damaged strands. But here's the thing, none of that is going to happen if you don't take care of your scalp. First, scalp health is the absolute key in achieving those hair goals because it's where everything starts. That's why I swear by Way. Their scalp care products are the way to a healthy scalp, and they really get to the root of what makes hair stronger, fuller, and healthier. Plus, their hair and body products are designed to be effortless and fit right into your routine, making it so easy to keep your hair looking its best. Some of my favorite products are the Detox Shampoo. It is really good for when you've been using a lot of product, hairspray, hair gel. Maybe you just haven't washed it in a while. You've got a lot of dry shampoo in there. The Detox Shampoo is amazing. They also have a really good scalp serum. I know a lot of people who swear by this. I really, really love it. You can just feel it working in your scalp as you massage it in. They also have an amazing scalp and body scrub. This one smells like heaven. It smells so delicious. I want to just rub it all over my body and never wash it away. Its gentle sugar crystals scrub away buildup while softening and balancing your skin moisture level. The way to a healthy scalp starts here. Go to THEOUAI, and use code VIALL for 15% off any product. That's theway.com, code VIALL. They really get to the root of what makes hair stronger.
Maybe I'm just going back here, but the scene where you got really upset, and maybe about you didn't take shifts. Or
The
something to do-
pocketing, the dress
Oh my
money.
God.
Oh, and then you walk in
He's
and
like,
you're
is that
like,
what you were doing? You
Well-
made it
All right.
so much worse.
No,
Will.
I will start.
Yeah, we'll explain.
So let me give you full backstory. Saturday night, this is before the shift, I start getting really sick. It's like midnight. I can't swallow anything. My throat's killing me. I'm crying. We're sleeping out at Will's parents' house. It's now 2 a.m. and I'm like, Will, just give me NyQuil, give me something. We have to film tomorrow. I need to sleep. I need to sleep. And Will gives me 2 NyQuil. And so I wake up and I'm in a fucking trance. Don't know what, I'm hot, I'm cold, I'm overstimulated. We try filming with Will's family that morning. I'm crying in his mom's bathroom. I'm I don't feel good. I feel really sick. And they're like, you don't have to go to work. And funny enough, I'm thinking to myself, I don't trust that my truth will be told that I actually called out sick. So I'm going to go to work. Maddie's now DJing. She's not working. And one of the other girls has called out sick. Siobhan's going to be alone. I'll go work with her so she doesn't have to work alone. LOL. And I end up going to Republic. And, you see the scene of me leaning against the bar and I look at Will and I give my thumbs up to him. And it's because he's making sure I'm okay because I felt like such shit. And Siobhan pulls me aside and is like, hey, can I talk to you? And this is a girl that has been my girl at Republic, makes me cookies every week. She's flown me down Wawa from New Jersey before. This isn't just my coworker. And she's like, I need to ask you a question. And I'm like, okay, you look so nervous. What's up? And she's like, so, you're an ambassador for Revolve. I guess now I'm not on TV, so I can say the brand. You're ambassador for Revolve. You get commission every month and you have an affiliates link. Are you using your monthly commission to pay for the dresses and so then you can pocket that money and go spend it wherever you want? Or are you using your link so that you get commission off of purchasing the dresses and making, 10, 15% off the dresses? And I'm dumbfounded. I'm like, what?
I immediately already on my Will side now. Hearing you tell the story, I'm like, I don't, huh?
Well, this
and then I would have been like, who cares?
Just my interjection into the scene was all of a sudden someone's like, Emmy is upset. I'm out at the bar and my brother's coming to film for the first time.
Sure.
And so I'm trying to text with him. I'm nervous. He's got to come get mic'd up and stuff. So I see Emmy. I walk in. She's giving me the don't fucking come over here eyes. The I got this. Just stay out of it. Stay out of it. So I walk up.
Because here's
she's
another
crying.
thing they're gonna do. Will's getting involved in work drama. I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't need that.
So I walk up and she's explained the situation. I'm like, so this didn't happen? Because I'm like, if it didn't happen, this is all so dumb.
Well, I'm also reacting really big.
But then I look at the situation and I go, all right, this is two girls fighting about a work issue. I'm coming in as the man who's in law school now that's going to try to adjudicate their dispute when I have no dog in the fight. It's just going to be me mansplaining to them how they need to resolve a work issue and I don't work there anymore. And I said, it's probably better if I let them solve this issue on their own and then I'm there for Emmy afterwards.
I'm just
and
thinking
then me and
dumbass.
Emmy filmed a hour-long scene afterwards where I was consoling her and me and my brother were talking to her about the situation. But that
I mean, in the moment, I was literally like, oh, you are so dumb for being such a smart person. Just so you know. But I was also at the same time.
It didn't look good. I
literally
know
was
that I was I could have probably rubbed her back or kissed her on the forehead. And that
No,
was,
but I mean, that's a lot
I'm
of
also clocked in
context.
at work.
Yeah.
And I mean, my whole thing was they don't show it, but I pull up my affiliates link. I show her everything I've ever been gifted. I show her everything that's been bought in that month so that she could see that I didn't like use my link to get commission. I show her everything. And I show her the actual invoice where I use like my Amex to buy it. And what got to me though was she was really intense and was like, I need to know if I'm getting fucked over. And I'm like, I am a VIP server on an equal platform like everyone else. I am not the AGM. I am not the VIP leader. I'm a VIP server. I order these dresses for the girls because I want to do a kindness to Michaels to help him out, have his load be easier. And I know everyone's dress sizes. I know Maddie and Eva need an extra small. I know that we can't have bra straps showing. You can't have midriff showing. Like,
And the big alleged crime that you may be getting commission.
no, I'm not.
using her affiliates link was the
Oh,
thing.
I might just be
But I'm
getting
like,
commission.
that would have been
off
a good
of,
idea.
I mean, like, honestly, it seems stupid if you didn't.
That's what in the
right.
moment I'm thinking, damn, that's kind of
Your friend should have been like, girl, get your
That's
fucking
what the
bag.
other VIP server said to me. One of the VIP servers, Julie, came up to me. She goes,
It's kind of weird that they would be like.
She's like, my VIP server, Julie, she came up to me and she was like, I mean, you spent all the time, the effort looking for the dresses, picking them out, ordering them, doing our returns for us.
Did you getting commission cost anyone?
No, it wouldn't cost anyone.
The
No.
amount of times that I use my own codes for things to buy
I wasn't even
things for
thinking about
myself
it.
is like,
I
I
felt
mean,
kind of
that's
dumb
not
in the
a
moment.
crime.
I was like, that's kind of smart.
But that's all the more reason why I would have the exact response that you have, which would have been like, I don't know and I don't care, but like, huh? You
Huh?
know?
Yeah.
Was there a
Was-
part of you that wished you would have been like, the fuck? Like, no, I didn't.
I was so fucked up on NyQuil. I was so exhausted. I was so tired. The audacity to me because she's not on the show and it's in the middle of our shift at work and the response no matter what was going to be like me freaking out and disrupting the workplace. So I found it inappropriate to begin with. And secondly, I was just like, what the fuck? I was just like, because I've spent the
Your
past
response was great. Your response was off the
When
wall.
does filming start up again?
They haven't told us yet, but usually it's like mid-May.
And if you don't come back, she's gonna be like,
Fighting on her own.
Brad's gonna be like, you said I was evil.
I don't give a shit. Eventually, Will's going to graduate law school and be a lawyer.
How much time do you have left?
I've got 1 year.
Okay.
More year. And then I got to pass the bar and do
Were
all
you
this.
worried about your peers making fun of you for being on the show?
Yeah. And it's gotten really
Probably.
bad at this
That makes
point
sense.
because of this season where like I am now like struggling to sort of have privacy at school where I've got female peers that I love studying with and doing projects with that are really intelligent
anymore.
students.
Yeah.
Nope. I literally can't be at the school like alone with a female or else I see like on some page
We've
or
seen
thread
people taking
somewhere
pictures
that
of him.
Yeah.
Will's at the school with a girl and it's like I'm literally just trying to get an A in this class, but it's not that simple anymore. And it's made it sort of uncomfortable for me.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
And what's
Yeah.
also so dumb too is like, I don't know if people know this, but like Will broke his ankle like last New Year's. He had to get surgery and a plate and 6 screws put in his ankle. He couldn't even drive a car. So I was living with Will
She was my
for
living
like
girlfriend.
6 weeks, driving him to school every day, bringing him lunch. Like I was at that. I'd have to get his knee scooter out so he can knee scooter around. Like during this said cheating rumor accusations, I'm like, Will can't even drive a car. He can't even do anything without screaming in pain. I mean, look at him when
Y'all
he
think
has,
he's fucking a girl in the
look at him when he has a
bathroom?
little neck tweak. Like you think with
Yeah.
a little ankle pain, like he's gonna wake up in the middle of the night and like scooter. Like, are you kidding me? So it's just pathetic to me.
Do you think TJ plays the victim?
Oh.
Yeah, we need to talk about TJ for a second.
I think TJ, he's built his entire identity around the show. And I think that he's wanted to be on reality TV for a long time. I think
Okay.
he wanted to be on Charm for a while before this show. And I think maybe it makes him insecure when he then watches himself back on the show. And he's just very hyper aware of how much time he's getting. Like
Screen
to the
time.
minute.
If
Screen
his
time to
story's
the
that
been
may
minute.
be
told.
true, but
What
that doesn't
scenes-
like justify.
But I do think that well, I get what you're asking. Is he just that kind of person in general?
Maybe you guys can clear some things up for me, but it's my understanding that Joe was blackout drunk
Yes, he was.
and that no one's disputing that.
No one's disputing that. Joe was blackout drunk.
I see where you're going.
And And I just don't know why we're having a conversation at all about this topic, given that one person was blackout drunk.
Yeah, just wasn't.
And doesn't remember.
Remember.
Damn.
And that like the fact
Damn.
that TJ is like pushing this narrative when Joe's like, listen, I don't know what happened. Maybe something happened. Maybe something didn't happen, but I don't fucking remember. And if like, sure, I don't know what happened, but like it seems on the reunion, like TJ, you know, is obviously very emotional and, you know,
Joe had a girlfriend at the time.
whether he had a girlfriend or not, he's blackout fucking drunk. And why is TJ able to victimize himself when like the real question is like, what the fuck were you doing?
Yeah, and I think what's also wild is that it wasn't some secret, right? He was vocal in Charleston about this thing with Joe. Like
when it happened in
summer
of 2021, just to clarify.
So I think, I think at some point he's saying like, I didn't really tell anyone other than Brad. Like, that's not true.
He's been talking about it season 1, season 2, season 3. It's always been a conversation.
So there were like you 3 people at the reunion who said that he had, Austin said he told him, and then Maddie said he told her.
TJ saying you're crying, it's all fucked up because of his feelings. And I'm just like, bro,
I think it kind of
you went out with your friend, he got blackout drunk, something happened, he doesn't remember. You told everyone about it, which is like,
I don't think you're off base.
I'm just very disturbed by like what's being ignored versus like the narrative TJ is pushing and how
it's such a difficult
I think
topic
it's because
it's hard to talk about these things, and I think maybe we don't talk about it enough. But I guess just being so wrapped up in it all, I had never really like taken a step back and seen it like that way, and it's weird.
Well, we didn't because it was never TJ pulling the moves. The accusations were Joe was pulling the moves, if that makes sense.
But this is all coming from TJ.
Exactly. But that's what, that I think is where it kind of became, I don't know why we never thought of it like this.
I mean,
because we've talked about it for 3 years.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he didn't, you have Joe sitting at the reunion being like, dude, I
guess I'll take your word for it. I was blackout drunk.
I mean, well, he's kind of like that. You were I had a girlfriend. You were spreading this rumor about me, and like he was like, well, that's how I felt, and like I was hurt. And
why didn't you go to him? Back to the whole case in point. Like, go to the person in the situation where you get the problem with. Like for me, I was like, you should have gone to Joe. If you created a narrative that Joe's in love with you over it, you should have gone to him asking his intentions behind it. And when it finally came out that he didn't even remember it, you spent 3 years creating a false narrative over something that originally came from you to begin with. It just, to me, felt like a lot of what? Mm-hmm. Like confusion.
Yeah. I mean, I've always thought that like, if it's true, it's wrong. If it's false, it's wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think that's like the simplest way to put it.
And I just don't know why TJ is able to like milk this storyline where it's just like, bro, like you seem like the bad guy in every version of the story.
He doesn't care if he's the bad guy. He just wants to be on TV.
I've always felt really bad for Joe through the whole thing. So I can't imagine how difficult it's been for him to navigate that.
Yeah. And I was curious, as you guys know the situation.
We used to be best friends with them. So we actually know everything about these people up until probably the last 6 months.
Yeah,
we don't know their every thought.
A year.
I used to know their every thought. Like literally their every thought.
Yeah, we all had each other's locations for like 3 years straight.
Hung out 24/7. Joe Bradley lived 1 floor above me in my apartment complex. Season 2, when Will was at Joe Bradley's apartment, he was 1 floor above me to the left, literally.
So, and you would say you're not friends with anyone at this point?
No, I mean, that's a little, I am texting Michaels right now as we speak.
Okay.
I mean, I'm like this with Michaels. I think Michaels, your first season on a TV show, it's a big learning curve.
You and Maddie are really close now too.
Maddie and I are really close. I've been texting.
Do you think you guys have bonded over these false allegations?
Well, I think we both we've gone through a lot together, and we haven't always been on the same side, especially, season 2, we definitely were really butting heads. And now that I've experienced kind of what it's like to have everyone just attack your relationship, I'm just like, I can't believe.
Yeah, I don't know how she did it.
I don't know. I can't believe you didn't cry. I can't believe you kept it together so much. And I have a lot of empathy and I have a lot of respect for Maddie, and I have a lot of love for her. And she's someone who's been on this show with me from the very beginning. And she's someone that I want to always have her to lean on me too going forward. Like, we figured it out. and we are not each other's enemies. I want her to be like one of my closest friends. Like, she's a true girl's girl. She means well, and she will ride for the people she loves. And,
Do you think her or Michael's would have your back in a room full of people who don't?
yes, now I do. And the issue was at first was that Maddie thought that Will did cheat on me because of her experience with Trevor in season 2. So all season she thought that
Before she knew.
before she knew the truth, she thought like, oh, this happened. Emmy's blindly in love because this is what she had convinced herself. And once I dropped the bomb that Trevor never cheated and she was gaslit and lied to, so that she could understand why I don't believe anything at all that's being said to me, she finally was like, oh my God, like, Will didn't cheat on you. Trevor didn't cheat on me. Like, what? That's why she's like, what's even real anymore? And so,
Where do you think she's going to stand with Brad?
yeah, no, me and Maddie are
Do you think Brad's going to get his next season? I mean, I hope so. Like, how?
I mean, I think
karma will. I don't need to do any digging.
You can't. That's my thing with Brad, and he like makes these posts and everything, and I just don't feel the need to engage because I think if you go out into the world and you act that way, in one day you'll get what's coming to you.
No, I get that. But I mean, even just if we're just talking pure TV,
Maddie will want to.
I'm
probably.
just saying, like, shit, you got half your cast, like, coming up with storylines for the sake of storylines. Well, there is a storyline now, and one of those storylines is one person in the cast is making up storylines
to hurt
to ruin other people's
which
lives.
Really threatens the show, and it threatens our
mental health. I mean, honestly, like, you
everything.
start spreading rumors about you or other people that are involved you, it really, for all the people who misuse the term gaslit,
Yes,
it really fucking like can
that's
like
on the
fuck
nail on
with
the
your,
head of
like,
gaslit.
No,
Yeah.
a picture of Bradley Carter is next to that definition in the dictionary. Like, literally, I've never seen a man so quickly gaslit.
Well, I think
people.
it also I think it hurts the show as a whole because I don't think anyone who's involved, top to bottom, wants there to be.
Yeah, it only works. It only works once.
Yeah, the
You don't want
creation of a
it
fake
to all be lies.
of something that's fake. The idea and what we'd always hoped for from the start doing the show is that we were a really tight friend group and we wanted to go through the ups and downs of being friends together. And I think that was always the plan. And somewhere along the way, it got sidetracked. And I think it's been bad for everyone. I think everyone in some way is going to be hurt by that, and it's just really unfortunate.
All right. Do you feel? How do you feel right now?
I feel good. It's hard to relitigate these things again and again. I think people to understand that about reality TV is that your life is not your life. Your life is over and over and over and over again to audiences, and then people comment on sort of how it's documented, and
what do you mean Will didn't cheat on Emmy? There's how do you just have fake cheating rumors? That doesn't happen. Yeah, if you're in the real world, maybe like
and our lives aren't like
even in the real world. I mean, people are bored.
People are bored, and it's an easy target
too. Like I think my whole life isn't this show. Like I have school and stuff like that, and the problem is now they've bled into each other in a way that's been tough. And I appreciate being able to go on something like this with this sort of format and have these longer conversations because I think they're important. And I think that it complements sort of the show world very well because you get this more nuanced take and you get the ability to really speak about who you are and maybe not just the caricature of you that people see in a limited context.
It's also tough too, just because like I imagine, you guys have spent the past hour and how many minutes like
it's flown by
defending, rumor this or rumor that.
It's exhausting.
But like like every couple, I mean, you guys have I'm sure your relationship problems. I don't know. I'm sure shit has happened in your relationship, and it's like a weird thing because everyone knows no relationship's perfect. And you're sitting here like, well, that didn't happen, and this didn't happen, and that's not true.
And then it's like, if we were to be honest about any other issue, then does that get piled onto the fake ones, or is that
right?
So it makes it hard for us to want to be open.
Even open up about the shit that does happen
because we were always super open to talk about this. Like if we had filmed all of that stuff about me inappropriately oversharing, I would have loved to have that conversation in different terms, like and to really talk with
Will
Brad
also,
and TJ and my friends about it, but
you didn't have the
issue
same
is
platform.
that it blew up at a big dinner where I wasn't there, and it's like, okay, well, how do I have this conversation now? Because it seems like it's already been pre-written for me and what my role in it is, and it was really disappointing for me, and it made it the season as it kept airing. I felt more and more of that that other people were telling my story. And then it made it hard for me to actually want to tell the real story of us. And I don't think we really got a chance to talk about like our
These
fights and our
lies
problems
grew
and stuff
legs,
like
and
that.
then we didn't even have the opportunity to address the lies before everyone else gave it legs. And it's like, what have you built out of a simple explanation?
I mean,
if you would have just asked.
I applaud the two of you for being able to get up and go and film the show and do it.
Thank you.
It's not something I
thanks.
would ever want to do.
It hasn't been easy.
I can't imagine that
Yeah.
it has. But I do want to ask you if Grace Lilly is saying like maybe this career isn't for you, when you were kind of opening up about like just how hard this has been on you.
Mm-hmm.
Did that?
I think I just wanted the audience to understand, because I think a lot of times they forget that there is such a production behind what I go through, and that you don't just live it once. You live it so many times over and over and over again. And a lot of what you see during the season is me realizing we are at a big dinner table at Lake's birthday. This isn't some cute little side issue. This is the season. I've realized everyone's been talking about this for the past 3 weeks. This is the season. This is the storyline. This is it. I'm the target. This is going to be and that's where I'm like,
It does put your outbursts into context.
But that's why
it's just like, it's like your freak out seemed to come from you having like this
Like this
aha
oh
moment.
shit moment.
It's,
Yeah.
it's
On
not
camera,
about Will.
mic'd up, realizing like, I see
Like
how
it
this-
is an ambush.
You
Yeah,
guys have been
and-
talking about this for 3 weeks. Oh, you've all
Okay,
your
that-
scenes
that
last
makes a lot
week.
of
Yeah, and I think
sense.
she's realizing, okay, we're gonna have to talk about this for a year.
Forever.
Like,
And that's
in that moment, she's playing 20 steps ahead in the chess game. That is can be the show sometimes.
And that's my biggest thing. It's like, that's why every time I freak out, I'm literally like, they can't just leave us alone. Like I can't get a break. And it's because I literally don't get a break every day. I have to talk about it.
I mean, but fair or not, it is.
It's my career though that I
It is
chose.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's some of the people I know in Bravo world, like to Nelly's point, like I couldn't do what they do.
Yeah.
I'm not even willing to do what they do.
Yeah.
And they are professionals, and there's hazard pay, so to speak.
I wish I
right?
was dumber,
Like,
so I didn't know exactly what I was going to go through, because everything I knew I was going to go through, I've went through.
I
went
it's
through
almost
every
like you
minute.
have to like separate the person and the character,
Yeah.
and you have to be okay with being the character,
Yes.
and then allow people on the outside world to not know the difference.
Yeah. I think for me, I've especially this season struggled with that so hard that I really question whether this is the right thing for me. And when I look at Emmy, I think that she's a star, and I just think that it's hard for her to put her relationship in that context. If it was just Emmy, the servant republic, then I think she could do it, 10 times over. But
I mean, it does kind of feel like, that this is where you guys are at in life.
Yeah, this
you're
is
in law
life.
school, you're working at a bar, and then the show's being filmed in this moment in your life, and it seems like the show has been able to
He's disregarded Emmy. He doesn't care.
like you got law school and really kind of taken almost like this Legally Blonde kind of like,
Mhm.
you're in law school and you've planned out
they
your guys' life
sensationalized, the whole-
together. And like, I don't think there was a scene where you talked about like proposing or something. And it was very much like
Yeah,
you've decided.
I sounded
for-
pretty silly in
It's
that.
like a
I think.
reward.
Yeah.
They're like,
Is that,
you know what's so funny too, and I don't know, like the viewers wouldn't know this, but like Will and I are very neurodivergent. Like I was legitimately diagnosed with ADHD when I was 5 years old. I was put on 20 milligrams of extended release Adderall when I was 5. I have been on
Holy
Adderall
shit.
for 22 years.
Damn.
So for me, like, just so we know, like,
I'm also,
so
yeah,
like,
y'all are in good company.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
just so you know, like, I am a very, like, I deal with sensory processing issues, like, I am a little special sometimes, and I get overstimulated. I could feel the mic on my back in some scenes, and I'd literally be tweaking out, like, because it was falling down my back while I'm in a serious conversation. Like, the lighting is blinding my eyes. You saw how many times I took my sunglasses off with my conversation with Michael's. And, like, Will also is a different version of that.
I just say things weird sometimes, but
And I think they take
It's
it
great
and they
for
run
TV.
with it.
You know, I
Yeah.
gave him plenty of ammunition. And I can
'Cause
only blame myself for that.
Because it
but-
sounds like we have no chemistry. And I'm like, to the viewers, probably at this
Oh.
point.
You guys seem normal enough after 90 minutes of talking.
I would hope so.
Thank God.
I think you feel better. You feel
Yeah,
less
I
nervous?
feel better. You know, it's you know, I thank you guys for giving me the forum, and yeah, you know, I think we could talk forever, but I don't know if that's gonna make it any.
I mean, is there anything that you feel like
Else-
you didn't get off your chest?
No, I feel better.
Okay.
I feel better.
Okay.
I think that's the
You want
best.
to tell I mean,
Clearly, you overthink.
Yes,
I
clearly.
know.
He
You know,
does.
So, like, you've done a good job. I don't, and don't think and don't sit there and replay this in your head over and over.
I'll try not to.
I mean,
Uh,
it's just, I mean, I think like one of the last little bits and pieces that bothered me the most of this season was seeing how one-sided they try to make my relationship with Will and how they try to make it look like I was so obsessive over it and Will couldn't give a shit, as if it's a
Yeah.
one-sided story where,
no, Emmy wears the pants a lot.
yeah.
Well, it's one thing I've learned about reality TV, and I've been in this business for a
Yeah.
long time. Is things have a way of coming around, and it's always the long game. And the people who do make TV, they know what they're doing. And even if it was the last scene in the finale of the prom, where that whole group kind of bizarrely followed you and ganged up on you while you guys were supposed to have this like one-on-one conversation
Austin.
with Austin. I really think painted a picture of what the real dynamic of this relationship is. And, don't know what holds the future for you on this show. Sounds like Emmy, you're back for sure. But like things have a way of flipping itself on its head. And maybe Bradley or TJ might have to be in a different position.
Yeah,
I
I
mean-
think I'm very lucky that Emmy is she's very glass half full kind of person. So I just think going forward, no matter what happens with the show or, who's involved or who's in the hot seat, I think that
It's gonna,
I try to borrow a page from Emmy's book, which is just to see it for the best.
Well, thanks for showing up for this.
yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
We appreciate it. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We'll see you tomorrow. Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.